Well, he wasn't scoring Terry for nothing. If they
We're
were going
starting.
to sign him to be a father figure to the
We're
Dart, they probably
starting.
should have specified
I
what
gotta
that
start.
did and
We're
didn't
starting.
entail.
Let's start.
Hi, Mike. No, but I'm going to check in with you at the break. So if you have, I want you to come on the show. You're the reporter.
Here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Here as we're tracking down a lot of late-breaking news this morning. No, Todd Bowles has not been fired, not yet, but hopefully soon.
It's coming
we got
soon.
lots coming soon, coming attractions. I hate to laugh about it. It's, obviously a man's livelihood, but they're well-compensated folks. Let's not go crazy.
I think he'll be okay.
They'll be okay. They'll be okay.
Him and Jimbo are going to go have a little party on a boat. They'll be okay.
They'll be fun. I know. It's like, the families have to move. And it's like, okay, they get into the business. They know what they're doing. They get highly compensated. They'll be fine.
He didn't get fired from McDonald's.
That's right. We're more worried about the people that are, if you want to worry about humanity, there's a lot to worry about. Todd Bowles is not at the top of the list, nor is Jimbo Fisher. So let's make that clear right away. Good morning to you, Tim Hamm. How are you?
Good morning, JP. Good morning, Tampa. Look, I'm representing well, right? I already showed you earlier before the show. I got my Tampa representation.
I like
right
it.
Here
I like
DFW.
it. What is that? An old and your little friend there too. We got the dog. We got both dogs.
Yeah.
Tally's It's the Tally making a brief appearance there. There she is.
There she is.
There in the back. Yes.
There
She's
she
like,
is.
dogs? Did somebody say dogs? Yes. Show has already gone to the dogs here this morning.
Yep. Already.
Thomas Casper is already up early, spreading rumors in the
That's
comment
all.
section. I don't even know if we should talk about that, but we'll probably get to it at some point. The Lightning lost last night 4-1 in Colorado. Watched a little bit of that game. Watched the highlights this morning. Looking at some of the comments and what have you, and not just we'll hear from John Cooper. It wasn't a great effort by the lads last night, especially some of the goals. So we'll get into that, and we'll hear from Todd Bowles. Scott Reynolds going to join us at 10:30. Just listening to his podcast and some of the reporting that they're doing. This may be an unprecedented move by the Glazers to make a move mid-season. We shall see if that's going to happen. We'll talk to Scott Reynolds about that at 10:30. TJ Rives will join us at 11:40, and we'll talk some Bucs with him. Obviously, some college football playoff, and whatever you guys want to bring to the table, bring it to the table in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. You can do that on Facebook. You can do that on YouTube. You can do that on Twitter. So jump aboard. We'd love to have your comments. And we'll jump right into it this morning talking about the Bucs. And we'll hear from Todd Bowles, who did a short 4-minute press conference, and also from Baker Mayfield. I want to get to his comment yesterday that I think is very telling as well. And I think that'll go more towards our monologue. So, Timmy, let's cue up the Baker Mayfield, if we may. Yeah, James is in here saying Bowles press conference kind of stunning. This is the point, and I've been covering this team for 27 years, right? I've covered Tony Dungy to John Gruden to Raheem Morris to Greg Schiano to Lovie Smith to who was the knucklehead OC? Blowing my mind right now. I do these brain farts every now and then, and on we go. And it's this is the point where they're dead men walking. I don't mean that with any disrespect, but everybody knows Todd Bowles is not going to be the head coach of this team next year. If they went on a run, would he save his job? Absolutely. Please show me the evidence where this team is going on a run. They've lost 6 of 7. They get gradually worse. They've lost Levante David. I told you this was not going to be they were not going to beat the Colts. I told you that last week without Levante David. And don't be fooled by the score, folks. Again, this was a game, teams like the Colts and others, and almost every team in this league, when they get a two-score lead, they put it in the deep freeze. I think the Colts could have done whatever they wanted offensively for the most part. They scored 27 points, and they could have scored 40 if they had to. Just like the Houston Texans. They had to score. Would they score 39? They went and got 39. And you can name your score on this defense. This defense is completely feckless. It starts in soft coverage and gets softer as the game goes on. If you just want to run 5 yards and turn around, I'll throw it to you. The corners are 15 yards off. it's just the easiest defense to play against. Now, as the game goes on, Todd gets more aggressive when he has to be more aggressive, right? Why not start being aggressive from the jump? Okay? Why are you so timid that you can't start from the beginning of the game because you set the tone for just allowing the other team to run right through you? And football is a game of momentum. It's a game of emotion, right? And if you start every game behind, every single game, you're getting your ass beat, and the other team is just going down the field. It just sets the tone for the game, and that's where Todd Bowles always lives. He always lives starting the game safe. I'm going to play safe and not give up a cheapie. I'm going to play safe. Well, the great coaches start playing aggressive, continue to play aggressive throughout the game, confident in their team's abilities. Where Todd Bowles is exactly the antithesis of that. He wants to start soft, don't make any mistakes, don't challenge any plays, don't challenge the Mike Evans should have scored on that one play because, I might lose a timeout, and all those timeouts I take to halftime. Anyway, the dude takes all 3 timeouts to halftime every game. But I don't want to challenge this play that might be a touchdown because I might lose a timeout that I'm not going to use anyway. Well, that makes sense. Okay, good. I'm glad we're there. It's just ridiculous. And then Mike Evans catches another ball, crucial 9-yard gain that Mike Evans jumps up and says, no, I caught it. At what point do you not just, okay, let's trust our players. Let's go to and here's the other thing, folks, with these refs, you don't know. It's a flip of a coin, whether he caught it or not. You have no idea. They have no idea what they're going to call. So why not? If it's a crucial play and could go your way, you challenge it. But then Todd Bowles is just sitting on the sidelines, headset on. I'm like, are you challenging it? Are you even talking about it? Are you ordering PF Chang's? I don't know what's happening. I can't tell. You getting the honey chicken, or are we challenging this? What are we doing? It's ridiculous. It's maddening to watch. And what do you think the players are thinking? Coach, you're gonna, help us out here. This is where you come in. This is where you actually do something that might affect the game positively. Challenge the effing play. Mike Evans is rolling over a guy. He might have broken the plane. Why don't you give it a shot? Because guess what? You didn't score a touchdown. Because at 2nd and inches with your backup quarterback, you're going to shotgun. Illegal motion. Now we're back at the 5-yard line. I swear to God, Tim, why do teams with inches to go snap the ball 5 yards back?
Drives me crazy every time.
What are you doing? It's all you got to do is take the snap and move forward. I mean,
you just turned a 4th and inches into a 4th and 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every
makes
time.
No sense.
Makes 0 sense.
You touched on something a minute ago about Bowles and whether it's his coaching style or his coaching ability or whatever it is. Everybody that watches football, that's been watching football for a long time, like you and I have, the good teams and the good coaches dictate the flow of the game. They don't adjust their game plan. They don't adjust their team's game plan to follow suit with what the other team's doing. Yes. They go in with their game plan, and whether it's aggressive or whatever, and they go from down 1. From the first series, they dictate the flow of the game. They make the other team adjust.
Yes. Yeah.
From all of the Todd Bowles football I've watched, it's always, well, let's go see what they give us, and then we'll adjust to take it. And then you don't adjust.
Yeah. And you don't adjust.
It's maddening to watch.
And as we're hearing these conversations, again, that in key points, the players don't do what they're supposed to do, right? That's what he's constantly says. We have breakdowns at these key moments. Todd, this is a little nugget here for you. Those are not breakdowns. That's coaching. That's coaching. They watch the tape. They see that on 4th and inches, your linebacker 45 and 24 are going to react to where they think the ball is going. They are susceptible to play action fakes. They are susceptible to taking the bait. So what am I going to do on 4th and inches? Easy. I'm going to act like Mo Alley Cox is blocking down. I'm going to release him right behind it, taking candy from a baby. That's not somebody missing an assignment. Well, it is somebody missing an assignment, but that's somebody that constantly misses assignments, and other teams pick up on it. And you say, oh, well, he should have, we practice this every day. Yeah, and they make the same mistake in the game every game. And then the other team takes advantage of it because they seen it on film, and you go, well, we should have been there. No, that's coaching. That's how it works. They watch the film. They see where your weaknesses are. They see that 45 does it every time. And then in the key point of the game, they use it. That's coaching. Well, we're down in the red area. All we got to do is get 45 one-on-one with McCaffrey, and that's easy pickings. There you go. Back at the playoff game, a guy had never even caught a touchdown pass, the tight end. Who's on him? 45. All we got to do is roll Matthew Stafford out, let 45 take the bait, let the tight end just slip in behind him. Easy touchdown. He blew his assignment again. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, because he always does. That's coaching. Don't put him in the position to make the same mistake 50 freaking times in a row. That's you. That's not the players.
I was enjoying our great buddy Scott Hansen on the Red Zone channel the other day, Sunday, and they showed the play, of course, because it was the Colts Red Zone, when Gardner Minshew just totally juked out your buddy 45 over there, and they showed it about 5 times. Like, has anybody ever seen a quarterback that's not named Mahomes or Hurts or whatever juke out a linebacker worse than this? And it's like he didn't even try. And I was thinking, man, the last time I saw a defender not tackle that bad was when Deion Sanders played for the Cowboys, and he had no interest in tackling anybody.
Exactly. But that was a given, right? We knew that. Like, he's not going to tackle anybody. Devin White's job is to tackle people, especially slow quarterbacks, right? So, and this is, I love, we're writing articles about how he has a bad foot, and he's telling the press he has a bad foot and he can't stop. Okay, Devin, well, what about the other 4 years you've been overrunning plays, not breaking down in fundamental position to make the play? Has that been your foot been broken for 4 years or whatever you're dealing with? Come on, man. Come on. And we're going to talk about that? Seriously? Can we talk about everybody else's injuries and why they're not making plays? I mean, I don't know what the hell. I mean, for him to come out and talk about his injury like this is the reason he's playing bad is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Seriously, dude, turn on the film. How many times have we seen you sprinting over to the sideline, not breaking down, under control to make a tackle, getting your head where it should be, form tackling, fundamentals, professional football? You don't do it. You come running in high like this with your hair on fire, and the guy stops and goes by you. Shocking development. Shocking development. How did that happen? Oh, my God. Gardner Minshew faked me out. You know why? Because you're running high. You can't stop when you're running high. Break down and make the tackle. When did we get taught that, Tim? Was that 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade?
The first day football? Of your first football team, however old that was. Yeah. No, you don't come running in high like this to make a tackle as fast as you can. You come in under control, you bend at the waist, you put your head across the guy, and you make the tackle and knock him back into next week. He's a slow quarterback. He even had the sideline in his second defender.
And a defender behind him. Any smart player would have been, football IQ would have been, well, at least I got to get, I'll put my head across. There's no way he can get to the end zone if I put my head across his body between the end zone and where he is. It's football tackling 101. It's not because you got a bad foot. And we've seen you do it forever. But then the head coach will sit up there and go, no, he's playing great. He's playing great. And we wonder why this is a bad football team. If I were the Glazers, I would have fired him 3 weeks ago. Well, if I were the Glazers, I wouldn't have hired him. And I love Todd to death. I love him to death. And I understand why he was hired, and Tom Brady ordered the code red, and we all know what happened. And we understand all this, and they won the division last year ended up 8-10. The team got worse the entire year, but we got to bring him back. Okay. And again, I love Todd as a human being. He's a great dude. He's just not a good head coach. We're here talking about his football team and how he manages the football team. That's what we're talking about, not him personally. Great dude. But the results are awful. You've lost 6 of 7, and it's not exactly a gauntlet schedule that you've lost 6 of 7. You're not playing the Eagles schedule here or the Bills schedule. You're playing the Falcons, the Texans, the Colts. Yeah, I know there's a couple of good teams mixed in there, but you are a bad football team. What you say, what you watch on tape is a bad football team. Constantly making mistakes, constantly making the same mistakes, playing with no fire. Coach can't manage the game, doesn't know how to use timeouts, doesn't know how to use challenges. I mean, how many opportunities do you have to give this guy? It's come on. Seriously? He's just not ahead. And if you're sitting there with like a Tony Dungy demeanor and you're making the right calls and you're aggressive in your play calling and you're challenging plays and taking timeouts and being aggressive and trying to win the game, I got no problem with your demeanor. But when your demeanor matches what you're doing, and which is nothing, then you got to call it out. It's not that you're standing there with your hands crossed. It's standing there with your hands crossed doing nothing. Not challenging plays, not being engaged, not giving it to the refs so you can maybe get the next call. You got to be engaged in the game. And there's just nothing there. It's maddening to watch. If I was a player on this team, you know what I'd do? Let's play the Baker Mayfield sound. Let's play this is what I would say if I was a player on this team and I'm actually trying to win. Give me credit, by the way. Jenna Lane put this up on Twitter. Jenna Lane of ESPN. As we wait for the circle of death to play. Spiraling death. Come on, Baker Mayfield. Give it to me. We got to hear from you.
I mean, the audio's playing on my end.
Oh, I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
Okay.
I kind of have the same story over and over again. And so until everybody gets pissed off enough to get it fixed, there will be no change. So I know where I'm going to head at end of this week, and so I'll get my job fixed and try and drag as many people along as well.
Wow, that's the money quote that I heard at the end there. Until everybody gets pissed off enough, right? Who's he talking to? A lot of the players and the head coach. I know what I'm going to do, and I'll try to drag as many people as I can along with me. That's exactly Tom Brady mid-season last year saying the Bucs game day effort is embarrassing. Embarrassing. What's the constant? Todd Bowles. I didn't hear Tom Brady say that when Bruce Arians was the coach, nor did I see it on tape. But I've seen it under Todd Bowles. Maybe they respect him. Maybe they like him. They don't play hard for him. They don't play well for him. They don't play hard for him. It doesn't seem like they feel like they feel like they can go out there and do whatever they want, and there are no consequences.
That's the problem. There's no consequences when they don't perform well. You don't even get called out in the post game.
Right.
For all we know, they're not even getting called out privately, even though he may leave that to a position coach. I mean, unless it's coming from your head coach, for the most part, a player, especially a veteran player, isn't going to be intimidated by his position coach. It's got to come from the top, right? That's when you're in danger of losing your job. When the head coach comes to you and says, I need you to be better, you're not playing well. Yeah. If your position coach does it, all right, well, I got a couple more times to go until the head coach says something to me. Then the head coach never says anything to you.
Yeah.
So it's like me not punishing my kids when I should punish them every day for multiple infractions. But why are they going to start listening to me now? I've never punished them before. There's no consequence.
Exactly. It's no different. I mean, this is basic human nature. Humans will get away with what they're allowed to get away with. Yeah. That's why discipline is so important on football teams, in the military, in schools, in families. Okay. And guess what? Kids crave discipline. Players crave discipline. Like Baker Mayfield, I want the coach to call me out. I want the coach to call everyone out. I want him to call. And why is it so taboo anymore to have a head coach call out his players in public?
They can't get their feelings hurt, JP.
Oh, okay. You know what? If I got any players on my roster who get their feelings hurt for being called out in the press, bye-bye. If you can't handle that, then you're not a real football player.
Can't hurt their feeling. You can't.
Well, listen, if that's who you are, then get off my football team.
Yep.
If you can't take a little criticism, I mean, you're out in the public domain. I mean, hell, I get hammered every day. Well, not drinking, but I get That's the old me. No, that have some thick skin. Have some thick skin. If you're going to be in the public eye, you better have some thick skin, and you also better know that what other people think of you doesn't freaking matter. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself, as old Willie Shakespeare used to say. To thine own self be true. That's all that matters.
And that's
all
true
that
of
matters.
any profession, not just football, whatever you're doing in your life.
Exactly.
Be true to yourself and just do your job.
Do your
Or you know what?
exactly.
If you don't, then you lose that job.
Yeah.
Seemingly,
That's the way it used to be.
except for in professional sports.
Well, and that's the way it used to be. But now it's like, no, it's not nothing. It's not a meritocracy anymore, right? It's not how you do it, where you do it. It's everything else has to come into play. And if that's the way you run your football team, you will suck. Okay. If you want to play favorites and you want to, have politics play into who plays and who doesn't play, and you don't want to call anybody out or hurt anybody's feelings, you are going to have a crappy football team. And that's what you got. These guys are not this roster is not this bad. I'm sorry. It's not this bad. There are some there's some players out there. Some of them used to be dogs. They're not dogs anymore. They're not. And listen, I've seen this and I've talked to players about this and covering this league for many, many years. There's a demarcation line. There is a demarcation line. And when you're in a locker room, you know it and you feel it and you see it. And there comes a time in a season where the guys know this ain't going anywhere. This coaching staff ain't got it. These players aren't buying in. It's every man for himself. and let's go, folks, guess what? This team has lost 6 of 7. You just lost to the Colts. You lost to the Texans. You lost to the Falcons. This team has passed that line. Now guys are in self-preservation mode. You can see it on the tape. Don't get hurt. Get your money. Make sure you're on the roster next year. That's all you got to do. And that's where this team is at. And when you get to that point, fire the coach. Don't wait. Fire the coach.
But see, here's the problem: is it's a culture of the team now. Your owner apparently isn't holding your GM accountable. Your
right.
GM's not holding your coach accountable. So your coach isn't holding your players accountable. Always, too, we've been arguing that in Dallas for 28 years since we won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
It all starts at the top. If the GM is all over the head coach is going to be all over the players. If the owner is all over the GM will be all over the head coach, because somebody's going to lose their job, and it's not going to be me because you're not doing yours, right? That should be the mentality.
Exactly.
But it's not just the Bucs, man. It happens all over the place.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, Todd's not, as I've said many times before, being a head coach is hard. I certainly couldn't do it. It's hard. There's only a few guys on this planet that can do it. It's like playing quarterback. To be a good NFL head coach is hard to do. There's not many that can do it. And to be a guy that's not a good head coach, it's no shame. It's no shame. All right. It doesn't mean he's a bad dude or, he's a great guy. He's a phenomenal dad. He's a great role model. He's an awesome person. He's just not a great head coach. That's all. And the problem, part of the reason he's not a great head coach is because he's such a nice guy.
The problem in the NFL is now with 32 teams, you've got way more teams than you do good coaches and good quarterbacks.
That's right. So,
you got to go find the guy.
All right. We'll be talking about this with Scott Reynolds, enjoyable David Film and movie reviews. New guy. Good to see you, my friend. Who do you think next best head coach is? Any names you think are good? Well, this is part of the reason you fire Todd Bowles now. You get going on this. And yes, all your other coaches will get their resumes ready, and look, Antonio Pierce took over, got a little fired. Rich Bisaccia took over for Gruden and took the damn team to the playoffs. We've seen teams change coaches midstream and get better. I don't know if there's anybody on this staff that would fit that bill, to be quite honest. You don't want to bring in anybody from the outside. I get it. But, what's going on now ain't working. It's not working. So if you fire him, you can, you start talking to Ben Johnson of the Lions OC. Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, you can. You can. Those talks go on all the time. When you have an opening, the chess pieces start talking with the agents and everybody. Tampering, whatever. Happens all the time. See Tom Brady.
Sometimes the wives get involved. My
right.
wife knows this wife, knows that wife, and she's going to contact her and text her and contact her on Instagram. And sometimes it's crazy how this happens.
So Bobby Slowick, who is at the Houston Texans OC, who has tutored CJ Stroud. Now, that's the name that I would circle. I saw J.C. Cornell and some others talking about him. He's highly regarded in the league. He's tutoring a young quarterback, and obviously the Bucs. Look, this season is lost. You got a draft coming up that's chock full of quarterbacks, and you don't have to give away the store to jump up and get the first pick. That's a stupid move. It never works. See San Francisco. They got bailed out because they got lucky with Brock Purdy. But the Trey Lance deal was a disaster. The Bryce Young deal is a disaster. You want to be the guy with the number one pick selling it off as opposed to the guy jumping up and giving away 3 first-round picks to get it. So there's enough quarterbacks in this draft that if you're in the top 10, you're going to get a good one and probably one you really like that you should be able to build around. And if you got a head coach that has done it with a CJ Stroud, who's obviously super talented, but there's a lot of super talented guys in this draft. And it doesn't have to be the one that everybody regards as number one. You know, Jaden Daniels is a hell of a player. If people telling me he's a day 2 quarterback, give it to me now. Bo Nix, he looks really good at Oregon. Now that he's got some really good coaching, he looks really good. There's a lot of good quarterbacks. Riley Leonard, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft. Athletic guys who can throw the shit out of the ball. So, yeah, go get a head coach, an offensive-minded head coach that's built that. And if you fire Bowles now, you start back channeling it. Go to Bobby Slowick and say, hey, you're our guy. Name your price, name your quarterback. What do you want? And you don't think he's going to start looking at that? Of course he is. Be a head coach in the NFL, be able to pick your quarterback. Yeah. I mean, this team's going nowhere, folks. This team is going zero.
Especially for a somewhat stable franchise, right? You're going to get a first-time guy maybe that will take any job, right? Sometimes there's these guys, I'll just take any job to get my name in the head coaching ranks, right? But I don't feel like the Bucs are that team. The Bucs are a stable franchise for the most part. They've got a championship history. They've got some great players right now. You know, you got some questions at quarterback, like you just said. So let me ask you this. With all of these guys that are available, would you rather have an offensive-minded coach come in or a defensive-minded coach come in?
It's an offensive coach picking a new quarterback. You got to start over. Yeah. I love Baker. Baker's been great. And if Baker wants to stick around, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of suitors for him, if he wants to stick around and tutor this young kid, I'm all for it because I think Baker's a baller. And I think he's the type of person that you want in your building. I don't know if he's necessarily, the mindset to help bring another guy in because he's such a competitive guy. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. So I don't know if he's a good fit in that regard, but I like him and I would love him tutoring my next guy just in terms of being a professional. He's turned it around. People might still have a bad attitude about him. No, the kid can freaking do it. And I love the way Baker's played, and he's showed heart and guts and everything, but his ceiling is just, it's just not very high. It's an 8-foot ceiling, and it's good, and it works, and it's great. It's very functional. You got to have a nice house around an 8-foot ceiling. Who doesn't want a 10-foot ceiling, right? Who doesn't want it? Right.
I think if I'm the new head coach, the first thing I do is I take Baker Mayfield out to the side of the facility, right outside, back the truck up, present him with a big 6x10 Tampa Bay Buccaneers flag with a big sharp pointy pole on it and say, before every road game, right, I want you to run out on the field and plant this flag right at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
Get everybody going.
That sounds good to me. At least it would get a little fire going from the very beginning. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a history
Piss
of that.
Some people off. Let's go. Yeah, he does. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm for it. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Scott Reynolds is going to join us. I think he has a pick for a head coach as well. So we'll hear from him. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. You been injured in an accident. You've had your car totaled. Scott Jeeves will fight for you. He's a local guy, has offices in St. Pete and Hillsborough, very involved in the community. So keep it local, folks. We love saying that. Big enough law firm that will be able to go toe-to-toe with these big insurance companies, but small enough to make you mean something, to get calls back when you need a call back. That's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back at 3 with Scott Reynolds. Are you tired of those stuffy, overpriced sports bars? Well, come join the fun at the Patio in South Tampa and watch your favorite football teams under the stars in a tropical paradise. Yeah, it's a unique setting with huge wood decks beneath the trees, and don't worry, they have an inside AC bar with all your favorite bar games as well. The Patio has all the NFL and UFC sports packages, and it's home to the Tampa Gator Club and Bills Mafia, but all fans are welcome at any time. Hey, my FSU buddies love to watch the Noles at the Patio. It's also home to a great happy hour. Weekdays get $4 White Claw vodka drinks and $4 White Claw seltzers, $1 off all beer and wine from 3 to 7:30. And every Friday happy hour, join us for Football Friday. It's our live broadcast from 5 to 7 with tons of specials and the fan mic for you to join the show. We'll have swag and ticket giveaways as well. So come out for the live broadcast 5 to 7 every Friday at the Patio and come watch football in a tropical paradise all season long. It's 421 South McDill, just a few blocks south of Kennedy. Everyone meets at the Patio. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on Fan Stream Sports. It's only just begun.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get your testosterone right. Get your nutrition right. Get a doctor who's going to spend more than 15 minutes with you, like most of you get from your major corporate doctors. Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Chris Lugo is different. They'll spend an hour and a half with you with your blood work to make sure you're getting what you need personally, not some one-size-fits-all prescription. They do it differently there. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right, the reason I was laughing is I'm looking at the great Scott Reynolds in my preview box as I bring up Darth Vader.
Well, I mean, you know, JP. I mean, there's a cold front coming through Tampa, man. It's like
I got my
54 degrees out, JP.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought it was like a Darth Vader look or the
no, it's you know, I mean, I got the heat cranked up. I don't have a fireplace, but I do have like that TV channel that has the fireplace. So I got that going on the big screen.
It's 54
degrees and it's like during the day, man. This isn't like nighttime 54. This is like during the day
with the sun out.
Yeah. So
It's 38 here in Dallas right now. If that makes you feel
Oh
any
my
better.
God, Tim.
38.
And I got my window. My window's open right in front of me.
Where's
right
your coat, man? What are you doing?
Oh, that's great. Ah.
I understand this is kind of a bad visual. I look like I'm part of the Illuminati, so I'm going to take that off. And
Give me that pompadour, man. Give me that.
Yeah.
I want to see that
I
pompadour.
got the
That's
haircut
a
for you,
beautiful thing.
JP, because
Thank
I
you,
was
man.
not happy with my hair last week, if you remember. And so
What? I
I
thought it was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
yeah, it's a little too high with the pompadour. So
You think?
yeah,
I
God, this is
like
cold.
it.
I'm going to have to put this back on.
Oh, stop.
Maybe I'll just zip it up a little bit. There we go.
Oh, and I like my whole house full of Ashley and the kids are like, oh my God, it's 40 to 50 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I can't leave the house. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, the funny thing is I couldn't get my daughter Ellie home for Thanksgiving. I mean, I could, but I don't want to spend like $650 on an airfare, for Thanksgiving for like 3 days, and you're back up to Manhattan, Kansas. So
Right.
I did what any great father would do. I got her tickets to Farmageddon, which was Kansas State, Iowa State in the snow.
Oh my God, that was
Oh, yeah.
beautiful.
That was amazing. Yeah,
beautiful.
except for the final score, it which really sucked. But the game itself was crazy. She had to leave at halftime though. She's like, it was so freaking cold. It was like a blizzard.
And a kid from Tampa
yeah,
is out there slinging it around.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
snow.
Like a
Rocco
trooper.
Beck, like a trooper, averaging 28 yards at completion or
Yeah.
throw or some ridiculous.
yeah, which really pissed me off because I wanted Rocco to be really good because I coached him in Pop Warner for a year with the South Pasco Predators, but
not against kids.
not against my team. But hats off to Rocco. He did a great job.
You were going to take credit, weren't you?
No,
No
not
good
at all.
deed goes unpunished, my friend.
No, I'm a
No good-
defensive-minded guy. I actually didn't like
Yeah.
Rocco, even though he was on our team because he was our quarterback. I tried to get him to play some safety.
Yeah,
And Anthony was
I
like,
bet.
no, we're sticking him at quarterback. I'm like, he might have a future at safety. And, of course, Anthony knows better than me.
Yeah.
Good kid, though.
What a great story. What he's doing as a
Oh, yeah.
redshirt freshman is really
Yeah.
unreal.
Some Brock Purdy vibes with him, to be
Oh,
honest.
big time. Big time.
And that's where Brock Purdy went to school, Iowa State. So,
Yeah. Well, he and Brock are corresponding quite
That's
frequently.
good.
We had Anthony on the show
Yeah,
last
that's
week,
good.
and he was talking. I asked him about that, and he said, "Yeah, he and Brock correspond all the time.
Yeah.
He's always asking him about different things, and Brock
Yeah.
is obviously more than happy to tutor him
Yeah.
as an ex-Iowa State guy. So it's really nice. You got
That's
not
good,
only
man.
have a dad, like Anthony Becht, who's been
Yep.
tutoring you with NFL principles since you were in Pee Wee.
Yeah.
But now you have a direct link to an NFL
That's
guy.
right.
Who's also under the best mind, probably offensive mind in the NFL, in Shanahan.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah,
right.
he's
Yeah,
being
and
groomed
my daughter
right
Ellie,
well.
my daughter Ellie and Rocco went to the same high school, Wiregrass Ranch up here in Wesley Chapel. So,
There you go.
go WC.
So do they go travel back and forth? Get in the car and well, Rocco's probably flying.
Yeah.
Private on his NIL.
He doesn't have
deal.
an NIL deal right now. He will after this season.
Well,
So, yeah.
hey, there's more than one seat in the net jet, so if they're
True.
going to the same place, so come on.
That's true.
Yeah, hit your ride. Let's go.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of catching a jet out of town, how's our head coach doing, Todd Bowles? I just
Good.
made an impassioned plea that I know the Glazers have never fired anybody midseason, but
Yeah.
at this point, it's time to move on. Nothing's happening here.
But they're not going to
start on somebody else.
I think the Glazers with their track record. And now listen, if they lose to 1-10 Carolina this Sunday at home,
Oh, that's coming.
like that might change some minds. They might have to stray from their norm, which is giving every coach they've hired at least 2 seasons to get the job done. They had they presided over Raheem Morris's 10-game losing streak to end his tenure in 2011, right? They let Greg Schiano start 0-8 in his final season before he finished 4-12 before firing him. Lovie Smith, 2-14 start, not a good debut in Tampa, and then he won 6 games the next season and he was fired. So I don't think they're going to break from the norm. And really, if you're a Buccaneer fan, it's like you just got to ride it out, as painful as it is, right? It's kind of like, it's like if you don't like roller coasters and you get kind of cajoled into getting on one, and you're halfway through the ride and you see the loop-de-loop still coming and the corkscrew and you're feeling nauseous. You're like, oh my God, I just want this to end. You know what? You can't get off the ride. They're not going to stop the ride for you and say, Mr. Peterson, you look a little peaked. We're going to let you get off and vomit right now. No, you either have to hold it in or blow your chunks during the ride. You got an hour, a minute and a half left.
I did after this game last week. I blew my,
Yeah. So listen, one of 2 things is going to happen. either Todd Bowles is going to, channel his inner Bruce Arians, which isn't going to happen, but he has a chance mathematically to get this team back in the NFC South Championship.
Stop.
And then
I won't have it.
he probably has to win a playoff game to stick around, because the Blazers want to see progress. So it's either that, which is less likely, or this team just crashes and burns, and with every loss comes a better draft pick. And that's going to help lure a better coach, because if you have a higher draft pick, especially this year in a very quarterback-rich draft, especially with maybe as many as 5 taken in the first round, that might help you land the better coaching candidate. And so I think one of those two things is going to happen, and I think either one is attractive to the Buccaneers. What's not attractive is the process. Like, the ending is happy either way for Buccaneer fans, but it's the journey, the remainder of the journey, that is a little arduous.
Well, let me just postulate this, and let's be honest. You and I have gone through a lot of coaching searches, right?
Yes. Yep.
The Bucs have a really hard time attracting top coaching talent. They do. Okay, so that's been an issue.
Yep.
So my feeling is, let's change the formula. And you and I both know tampering is just there's legal tampering and there's what actually happens, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so the sooner you get on the Todd Monken train, the Ben Johnson train, the Bobby Slowick train, open those back channels and get it going, because if you don't do it, the Panthers are.
I think you can do it while you still have a head coach, to be honest. I mean, look at free agency. It happens all the time.
That's true too.
So, it's the, hey boy, Todd, Todd's, he's not looking like he's going to be back next year, and you kind of throw that out. Right. And, and I mean, listen, it's like,
I think they take it more seriously when it's already done, though.
Yes, but I think in every market, like, we're starting to write, like I wrote about Bill Belichick, like, just a hard note to Bill Belichick, please, right? I mean, Florio put that out there, and we reported it, and then I came out today and I said, like, listen, we reported Florio's comments, but here's why the Blazers should avoid Bill Belichick at all costs, starting with he's 72. Okay, let's start there. Yeah. But I think
nothing about offense. Game has passed him by.
Exactly.
You want Bill Belichick tutoring your new quarterback? How'd that work out with Mac?
Well, how about picking him? He did do a good job with Mac Jones, right?
God.
Yeah. So I think that in instances like this, stories like mine on Pewter Report, I'm sure that the Charlotte Observer has written some things prior to Frank Reich's departure, right? That general managers, owners, whatever, they take a look at, they copy and paste, and they'd send it. This is an interesting article here. Wow, wonder, and that's how stuff kind of gets circulated. We get used in the media to kind of,
of course,
put the word out, if you will. And so, I don't think the coaches pay much attention to it, but their agents do, because that's their job. And I think the friends and confidants of the coaches, are wow, this is interesting. Hey, Todd Monken, the Tampa might have an opening. And then, Todd's like, I don't want to hear about that. I'm focused on, beating the Bengals or whatever. But at the same time, there's enough people within the orbit that have an idea, and they start doing the research in December and January. Mm-hmm. And then by the time, that team's out of the playoffs or whatever, or it's time to do some interviews or whatever, those candidates are up to speed and they know the lay of the land. So I don't know that the Bucs are going to be in any more poor position than say Carolina. And I'll say this, say what you want about Jason Light. I think he's proven he can build a Super Bowl contender. Yeah. And the guy makes personnel mistakes like every general manager does.
That's part of the gig.
But he's a quick learner, and he doesn't really make the same mistake twice. There's a couple positions he's got to nail that he's struggled in the past. But I think he's one of those guys that when he makes a personnel mistake, first of all, he's quick to move on to the next one, right?
Yep.
I mean, look at this year. It's like, he spent 2 draft picks on defensive ends or outside linebackers, and then got another one of Marquise Watts, who's probably better than Jose Ramirez, who's on the practice squad, to go with Yaya Diaby, because he can see the writing on the wall with Shaq Barrett, who's probably not going to be here next year, and JTS, who just hasn't lived up to expectations. So it's like, those are his guys.
Yep.
but he's ready to move on with new guys that are also his guys because
Right.
the previous guys, it's time for them to go.
Yeah. And I'll definitely agree with you as far as the edge rusher goes. And Yaya finally got more snaps than JTS.
Didn't do anything with it, but
yeah, no, he didn't.
He's a rookie. He's still learning. We can't expect 2 sacks a game from him. Same with Kalijah Cansey. It's a tough learning curve. But again, it's like having Jason Light here. The Glazers, you ask any head coach. I mean, fans have their perception of the Glazers. You ask any head coach, you ask Jason Light. They love the Glazers. They love working for them. The Glazers went through a dark period. I don't think when they went from John Gruden to Raheem Morris and like, okay, well, Raheem, that was a mistake, and we had to like make some cash back for Manchester United.
Decision.
Yeah, it was.
That was all about buying Manchester United.
Exactly. But then it's like, okay, well, we got Schiano, the hot college coach, and they're like, oh, okay, well, let's get Lovie Smith.
Which, by the way, was a Belichick.
Yeah.
Remember, Belichick said, go get Schiano?
That's right. Yeah. So
sometimes those coaches aren't doing you a favor.
That's right. They're not. But my point is I don't think that the Glazers, when they fired John Gruden, thought it would take until 2019 to have another good coach come back. That was a decade of futility. And I know that they don't want that again. They're not going to be in the Super Bowl every year. They're not going to have a Super Bowl caliber roster every year. They're not going to have a playoff caliber roster every year, but they want a playoff caliber roster more years than not. And they don't want that time spans from 2002 to 2020 to be nearly that big again.
Right.
And they got used to winning. They got used to the fanfare. They got used to the spotlight with Brady. And they actually want to get back. I think this is the year to kind of recoup some money, fill the coffers, go cheap. Next year, they're going to dip their toe in the water a little bit more, but they're going to want to win sooner rather than later. And they see the opportunity here in this NFC South, which I'm telling you right now, and I said it a couple weeks ago, you're going to have 3 head coaches fired in the NFC South. 3. And the division winner, it's either going to be Arthur Smith, who I don't think is that great of a coach, or Dennis Allen. I don't think he's that great of a coach either. So it might be another year or 2 before that guy's fired. But they're going to be resetting the button here. Carolina's a long way from being good. This is an opportunity for a coach to come in, add a little bit more talent because they're going to shed some this offseason. But there's still a pretty good nucleus of players here. And I think, a different message, more sense of urgency, better player accountability, scoring more points, can get the Buccaneers right back to the NFC South title sooner rather than later.
I got 3 names I want to throw at you boys here as we're talking possible head coaching replacements for Todd Bowles when and if that happens. Ben Johnson, Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore. All guys in their mid to late 30s, 35, 36, 37, respectively, I believe.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore, his experience with Dallas, now in Los Angeles with the Chargers. I don't know that he's really shown people that he deserves to be a head coach, but his name is certainly out there.
Yeah.
But you look at both the Johnsons, and I mean, they've certainly shown that they've got at least great offensive coordinator skills. Yeah.
And see, I think that's really the real challenge. I don't think, this year aside, right? I don't think anybody thinks that Todd Bowles is a bad defensive coordinator, right? I mean, like, you look what he did in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying this year he hasn't been, okay? Yeah. And I really think that it's because a lot of these star players that are letting the team down, Devin White, Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, for example, they've heard this message since 2019. It's the same guy, same message, and sometimes it just gets a little stale. And if you don't have charisma, if you don't have the it factor, if you don't have the ability to be a bit of a chameleon and change, your personality and go from being, like, let's kick their ass to like, I'm going to kick your ass. And John Gruden had that ability, right? John's biggest fault was when the train was off the track, it wasn't getting back on. Right. Like, Tony Dungy could do that. Tony Dungy could get a 4-5 team into the playoffs, right? John Gruden can't. It was either 4-12 or 12-4, 5-11 or 11-5, right? But really great coaches have that ability to massage the message and get it back on track. And I don't think Todd has that guy. But there's a lot of really good coordinators. Like Dirk Cutter was a really good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just wasn't a good head coach.
Yep.
And so, like, you have to have charisma. You have to have the ability to motivate players. And like Bill Parcells said, and it's true, and it was even true for me at the Pop Warner level. It's a great, whether you coach Pop Warner, high school, college, pro, whatever, it's all the same. You're dealing with different personalities.
Mhm.
They require different buttons to press.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you can't have a blanket message and appeal to everybody. You got to have a tailored message. Sometimes it's 53 different messages to get to 53 different guys.
Yeah.
And so that's a bit of an art form. And some of these guys, and I've been watching some of their press conferences, right?
Mhm.
And like Dave Canales can win the press conference, right? And I think he's got a bright coaching future. He's got
Agreed.
charisma. He's got believability. But at the same time, you can talk it, but you got to be able to walk it. And 19.3 points per game right now isn't exactly walking it.
Right.
But so that's the thing, whether it's Ben Johnson, Brian Johnson, Bobby Slowick, the one guy I keep coming back to, and maybe I'm a little biased because I covered the guy and I knew him, Todd Monken.
Yeah.
I think Todd Monken checks so many boxes. He is relevant. He was in college for 3 years. He's used to dealing with young players, some of which at Georgia have the 5-star virus because, you know, they were the top recruits, right?
Yep. Yep.
But he has a way of getting to him. I see a little bit of Bruce Arians in this guy.
Yeah.
Didn't get an opportunity to be a head coach till much later in his career. He's 57 now.
Mhm.
He was a head coach at Southern Miss. Took them from an 0-12 season when he got hired. They were 0-12. They
Mhm.
won one game in his first year as he's retooling that roster. By his third year, they're 9-5 in a bowl game. Won the conference, which was I think Conference USA at the time. And lost to the Washington Huskies in the bowl game. Like, that's okay. Then he goes to Tampa Bay for 3 years. And if you guys remember, he took over the play calling duties in 2018. First game out of the chute, Ryan Fitzpatrick, 450 yards, and they beat the New Orleans Saints 48-41.
Yeah.
He's kind of a no risk it, no biscuit aggressive guy. He
love it.
transitioned seamlessly from 2 years at Georgia where he won back-to-back championships, took a guy like Stetson Bennett and made him one of the best quarterbacks. He was a walk-on.
Yep.
And then goes immediately to Lamar Jackson in a different offense that with, it wasn't a prolific passing attack necessarily. And he's turned Lamar Jackson into a better passer. And they're 9-3 and they're scoring 27 points per game.
They're humming. Yeah.
So
No,
he's
got an
holds guys
edge to him too.
He does.
He's got a little bit of an edge to him. Like
Yeah.
Canales is he's a very charismatic guy, but he doesn't have an edge to him. He's too nice a guy.
Yes,
At this
I agree.
point, he's still young. He doesn't, I don't know if guys are gonna respect him. Monken has got some gravitas.
He does. Yeah. He's got an edge.
Rings on his finger too.
Right. He's the kind of guy that will, hey, let's kick ass. And then if you need it, I'll kick your ass. Like that's his makeup.
Yeah.
And he's a little surly. I mean, he like I said, he's got some Bruce Arians in him to a degree. Which
you
you
gotta
need.
have that. Yeah.
Yep. Great communication skills. And wherever he's been, it's like he stood out like a sore thumb. You're like, wow, who's the receivers coach here under Dirk Cutter? Who's this guy? Yeah. And there's only been a couple of those guys that have really kind of popped for me. One of those was Mike Tomlin when he arrived. I'm like, wow, who's this guy?
You knew it.
And then
you knew it.
Yeah. And then who's that guy? Who's the assistant? That's Raheem Morris. Wow, he's like 24, but man, that guy can coach,
Yeah.
And then PJ Fleck, Shiano's receivers coach. First year, you're like, I mean, these guys just glow.
They do.
Right?
It's
aura.
charisma. You used the right word. It's charisma, and you got to have it.
Yeah.
And and a God bless Todd, he ain't got it.
Didn't have it. Yeah.
He just doesn't. And specifically in this game, because I don't want to go past this without getting thoughts on how he screwed this game up as well. You got to challenge the Mike Evans catch at the goal line. You got to challenge that. You got to challenge the second Mike Evans catch on where it's a 9-yard gain on second. Yeah, that's another one.
How about the Payne Durham catch? Give that guy a touchdown, man.
The Payne Durham thing, and you're just sitting there doing nothing, bro.
Yeah,
it's one thing to have a dungy demeanor, but if you have a dungy demeanor and you're not engaged in the game, you're not aggressively using your timeouts. He never does. You're not aggressively challenging. You're not aggressive. You come out in a defense that is so effing soft.
Yeah,
it's just they literally were telling guys, go 5 yards, turn around, we'll throw you the ball until they stop it. And they went right down the field in the first drive. And Sky said this before. I hate if you've heard it already, but that sets the tone for the game, for
It
your
does.
defense, for everybody
Yep.
else. You just allow the team, and it's every single game
Yeah.
the Bucs fall behind because he's just safe. He doesn't want to make
That's
it,
right.
doesn't want to get behind early, give up a cheapie.
Yeah.
Let's just go safe. Let's go safe.
Right.
Let's be safe. F that. Safe is death. Safe
Well, you're
is
right.
death.
And it's like, where's the fake punt? Where's the fake
Oh
field
my
goal? Like, I mean, like, just I'm just saying, it's like,
Oh, stop.
I mean, catch him off guard. I mean, hell, the Bucs were caught off guard. Hats off to Servassier Dennis. In this first game, wasn't even his guy. He came from the other side of the field.
Yeah.
He was the only one that recognized. The rookie is the only one that recognized that. Oh my gosh, they're a play action fake, and he
They're
tracked
taking
down
advantage of Devin White and
Yeah.
Carlton Davis again.
Right.
Shocking development.
exactly, and he tracked down Mo Alley Cox and prevented a touchdown. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that way. Here's the thing, too. It's the little things sometimes. It's the little things. When you have Mike Evans get up and just does this,
Yeah.
and then he's like, throw the flag.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't. If I'm Todd Bowles, I don't care what the guy upstairs
Exactly.
because he's saying, Todd, we're waiting on the replay. Todd, we're waiting on the replay. They're not showing it yet on TV. We haven't seen it yet. At that point in time, you got to trust your player and
Exactly.
say, damn it, I'm going to give Mike the benefit of the doubt. And even if it gets overturned, you're sending a message to Mike
trust you
Evans and the
guys.
players. I trust you guys. I got your back, and he doesn't do that. And it's those little things that add up. And I think that we're seeing the downward spiral. And I'm not
It's
saying
not like
you're
you're
going to
lose that timeout anyway. You weren't going to use it, so even if you
Exactly,
lose
Tim. That's a fantastic point. Yes, it's like I said this. I think I said this in our PR group chat during the game. It's like Todd Bowles collects timeouts like kids collect rocks. No, because when you're like a kid, you're like 4 years old. Like, oh, there's a rock. You pick it up, you put it in your pocket. And you're like, oh, look at that rock. That's even smoother than this one, right? And you're like 4 or 5 years old, and like your mom does the laundry, and all of a sudden you hear the washing machine clack, 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 clack. What the hell's that? Open it up. There's like 5 rocks in the washer because you collected rocks.
Yes.
And it's like this guy collects timeouts like rocks, like he's a little
Like
kid.
acorns for a squirrel. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's a little maddening.
Yeah,
I think they're going to beat Carolina just because Carolina's roster, like their talent is like really, really bad.
Yeah, but they got an interim coach now, and he's thinking, okay,
But they do.
Yeah, and they gave away McCaffrey, got a new coach last year, and they whooped the Bucs' ass.
That's right.
And I see the same thing happening.
And if you're an interim coach, go for broke, man.
Right?
Like,
they won't play
through
safe.
the kitchen sink. Yeah, exactly.
No, and that matters. All right, so what about the quarterback position? And I hate to say it because I love Baker and I love his quote this week. We played it earlier in the show. It's like, I know what I'm going to do until somebody gets pissed off and wants to change something. Nothing's going to change. And that was very reminiscent of Brady's quote of the Bucs game day effort is embarrassing. Yeah. And you cannot indict a coach more than that, right? In my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. And also too, I got to call out the Bucs captains. They did this on my 2-point conversion, and I'm going to call them out. I think they're all nice guys. Vita Vea, he's a jokester, right? He leads with humor. Levante he's a guy that doesn't want to rock the boat. He's very positive. Antoine Winfield Jr., shiny, happy people, always has a smile on his face. Like I love Antoine, right? Devin is a bit of a fraud as a leader because he doesn't play well. Yeah. Tristan is like, oh shucks, man, I'm from Iowa. Like I'm happy to be here. And I'm not disparaging any of these guys. Mike Evans, you'll get like an occasional like snarl from him, like he gets, but he's very kind of like into himself and a leader by example. Chris Godwin, kind of the same thing, and he's not having a great year, so it's hard to lead when you're not playing that well.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield comes, and I think he has the personality to be a good leader. But what did he do right when he got here? He's got to ingratiate himself into this team. Right. He's on a 1-year, $4 million deal. Everybody in that locker room knows it. He doesn't have the gravitas to come in with like, hey, he's our quarterback for the next 3 years, right? It's like, hey, I'm on a 1-year prove it deal. I might not be here next year. So he doesn't really feel like he can step up and say, guys, I'm the guy. Let's do this. I'm going to lead the charge. And that's just circumstance, right? He's not Tom Brady coming in on a multi-year deal saying, I'm the GOAT. Here's my Super Bowl rings. Follow me. And so there's no prick on this leadership council
or the coaching staff.
Exactly. If you're not going to get it from the coach, And Bruce Arians was the guy that held him accountable. Oh, and by the way, they had Ndamukong Suh, they had Jason Pierre-Paul, right? When you and I first started, JP, the Hardy Nickerson was here. Then Warren Sapp came. You can have the Mike Allstotts, you can have the Warwick Dunns, you can have the Derek Brooks and the John Lynches, the Rondé Barbers. Those are the nice guys. Rondé's a little bit of a prick because he would be pissed if I said he wasn't. So I'm going to say
he can be a surly bastard.
Yes, but not to the level that Sapp was. He ruled that locker room with an iron fist. Not to the level that Hardy was. Not to the level that JPP was. JPP was like, I don't care if I don't have a C in my chest. I'm still going to get in your face and demand accountability. And so there's no accountability on this team.
Zero.
There's no prickish guy in the huddle, in the locker room, on the sidelines, in the meeting room that is going to say what needs to be said and call people out. I mean, how many times did we hear Sapp, like, he would get back to the huddle after, Barry Sanders broke off a 40-yard run. He'd say, whose gap? Whose gap was that? And you had to own it. Lynch would say it was me, and I mean, I'm sorry, John. I mean, or Derek or whoever.
Hall of Famer. That hole was like so wide he could drive a truck through it. I'm supposed to get Barry Sanders down and that close the hole down. Sapp, let's go.
Exactly. But you get my point.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's the crazy thing. Finding guys like that coming out of college, right? Yeah. Where they've been coddled, they got the 5-star virus, they don't make them like recruit anymore. They don't make them like that much more. Where it's like everybody's kind of in it for themselves. I want my NIL deal instead of holding others accountable, because that's what true leadership is. It's being able to inspire and being able to demand greatness from others rather than just being great yourself.
Right.
And you got to be great because you're not going to be a leader if you're not. But you have to be able to hold guys accountable, and you got to be able to do it in a way where it's either the fear factor or it's the respect factor. And sometimes you need both. And right now, what's the fear? So many guys that we've talked about that are underperforming this year, they got the ring, they got the second payday, and that's the drive and motivation there.
Yeah. So we're at the point where it all needs to be blown up. And, and when you blow it up, it's best to start with a new quarterback and a new head coach. And I think that's where this is headed. Yeah, so as far as this season goes, we're just looking at young players and how they develop, and that's okay. So anyway, Scotty, always great to jump in with you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm back on. I've been freezing for the last 20 minutes.
Your humidor.
Yeah. PeterReport.com. Once my fingers defrost, I'll have some more stories up. But make sure you follow us on PeterReport.com. We have a podcast coming out tomorrow, Bucs versus Panthers, 4:00 on Peter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel. Make sure that you like that. Give us a subscribe. We appreciate it. And also follow us on social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Peter Report.
I'm sure the boys will, since it's going to be 50 degrees tomorrow, they'll be in the indoor facility tomorrow. Because
that's where I would be.
We don't want them to get chilly out there.
Winter in Florida sucks. I'm just saying, guys.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah,
Tim, bless you, man. You need at least a beanie on right now. If I'm just being honest.
Coach, can we go inside? Yeah, no, of course, guys. It's too cold out today. Let's get in there in that indoor facility.
It's too cold for me, but
we don't want you guys catching a sniffle.
That's right.
I bet you guys don't miss when the Bucs were in the same division with the Packers, Bears, Lions, and Vikings, do you?
The NFC Norris.
Yeah,
the old Norris.
Yeah. Listen, I grew up in Kansas. I'm used to like cold weather. I would walk to school in the snow. I did all that stuff when I was younger. I'm 51 now. My blood is thinned out. I've been in Florida for 28 years.
You've adjusted.
If I ain't skiing in it, I don't want to see it. That's all. That's the way I go with snow. If I ain't skiing in it, I don't want to see it. All right, thanks, Scotty. Appreciate it. We'll take it. There he is, the great Scott Reynolds. We'll take a quick break. We're going to get to all the comments here. You guys have had a lot of comments. We're open until TJ Reeves going to join us at 11:40. So we'll do that. We'll come back. We'll hit your comments. We got Bolts to talk about as well. We've got college football to talk about. Lots more coming your way. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. They have the best jewelry superstore in the world. And once again, local. You're going to spend that money at Christmas. Make sure you keep it local. And that is the Gold and Diamond Source. Engagement season, they've got great values going on right now. They just had the Black Friday sale where you doubled your money. So go spend those gift cards and get those gifts at the Gold and Diamond Source. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Get
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
Oh, is there any more coffee, honey?
Yeah, and pushing Sweden and
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. I'm IndyCar Timm. That is JP coming back late for break, as he often does occasionally. But we give him some slack because he's got probably homemade breakfast or something going on over there.
I was talking to my investigative reporter, trying to get the latest on this Corey Perry story.
Gotcha.
And Ashley has done exhaustive work on this and sent me some screenshots of things I cannot say on this show. And we pushed the envelope, but I ain't saying that stuff on the show. So, all right. So here's the deal. And Thomas Casper already put it up here, and I feel very uncomfortable talking about this, but you guys, it's already out there. It's all over the freaking internet. Everybody's talking about it. All the hockey people are talking about it because Corey Perry was removed from the team.
Which is a weird term, right? Like that's just a weird term. Removed.
Yeah, Corey Perry was scratched last night as a mysterious organizational decision. It's not on the ice. He's not on the ice for Blackhawks practice. So he hasn't been on the Luke Richardson said the Corey Perry situation will be kept in-house. No other details shared for now, according to Charlie Rumaloidis. Rumaloidis, who is a NBC reporter that covers the Blackhawks, beat reporter. Luke Richardson said, I just wanted to start by saying I know you have questions about Corey Perry not playing last night and attending practice today, but we're going to keep that internal in the organization right now. I'm not going to be able to answer any more questions on that. From veteran teammate Nick Foligno, we just know he's not with us, haven't gotten any details. It's unfortunate. He's a big part of this. We'll miss him. And he's played well for the Blackhawks, by the way. So as the story goes on, what's going on here? It's clear that there's something up with Perry and the Blackhawks, but we're not getting any clear info from the usual sources. So to social media we go. On Reddit and on Twitter, there's a hot rumor making the rounds that Perry actually hooked up with Melanie Bedard, mother of Blackhawks superstar rookie Connor Bedard. So that's what's out there, and you people are going bananas with it. It ain't true. It ain't true. I'm here to tell you that it ain't true because people have looked into it. Charlie Rumaloidis, again, said the Corey Perry rumor that's going around is 100% false. Carry on, everyone. So I see all you guys going crazy out there with your silly, stupid texts out there. What do we got here? Corey Perry capping off his Hall of Fame career by is absolutely – come on, you people. You're better than that. Some of you people. I mean, look, we're dealing with families here. You know, it's all out there on the web. So, you know, I think it has to do with the fact that the mom's trip was in Tampa, where Corey Perry probably obviously played here, probably still has a house, you know, but, you know, he's, the jokes, I'll let you go do them. You can go read them. There seems like there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. And the problem is, you know, when guys leave teams, there's reasons given, right? This is hockey. And key players leave the team. It's very rare that they say, you know, it's an organizational decision. We're going to keep it in-house. And then all these rumors start going around. And then you get, you know, well, he sold his house. Actually, he doesn't have a house in Tampa anymore. So,
and that was part of the impetus of the story about why this was supposedly possible, right?
Yeah, the mom's trip, you know, the whole nine. So, I don't put any stock. It seems like more circumstantial stuff that, you know, people are trying to make connect. But this is what happens when you want to keep stuff in house, and it could, you know, it could be a family illness, could be anything. So I see you guys talking about it. So I want to address it and let you know that this is not true. It's been debunked. So I'm not saying
they're going to continue to talk
I'm not
about
saying
it.
your tweets ain't funny. I'm not saying they're not funny. But, you know, let's keep it. And the tweets that are out there, you guys, you can laugh at it, but let's, you know, there are families involved here. Let's have a little decorum, please.
And this is one of the great things. Some people will say one of the worst things about the world that we live in with social media, where everybody's a reporter and everybody's got an opinion. Sometimes it's just funny.
Yeah. I mean,
other times it can be hurtful to people that are going through stuff, but I'm telling you, sometimes it's just downright funny.
What are some of the some of these other, I'm trying to find any that I might be able to read on air.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have FCC regulations here, but still.
I know, but I just put decorum, you know, decorum. We still have morals and look, if Blackhawks were going to sign Corey Perry to be a father for, all right, come on. They should probably have specified what they did and did not. You guys, you're pigs. You're pigs.
Oh, but we
did say that it was father stepson combo. Come on. You guys are disgusting. See, this is what happens on social media.
Yeah, can't believe y'all.
You people are pigs. You know,
these JP Peterson listeners, man. I don't know what to think of you guys.
God, I'm not going to read any more of these comments. I refuse to do it. Let's get back to some serious.
Let's get back to something that has some significance, if in fact there is anything.
Good God, you guys, terrible. So yeah, like the Lightning last night, they lose 4-1 to the Avalanche. We're not going to go bananas about this, but there was, the first goal, I think it was Hedman slips, gives up a 2-on-1. Johansson beats Vassie with a great shot. So what are you going to do about that? The second Johansson goal was a little bit curious. They break out into a 2-on-1, which isn't great. And then you got 3 back checkers who are just a little behind the play. And the rebound, Vassie makes an unbelievable save on the 2-on-1, kicks out the rebound to almost above the circle. And Johansson is there, and there's nobody near him. And Hagel was dogging it down the ice. Hagel dogged it down the ice and then tried to catch up. There was, nobody, Braden Point peels off, doesn't look for the next guy coming. But Hagel was, that's got to piss the guys off. You got to be better than that. You can't have some guy coming late down the ice and the juicy rebounds just sitting there and there's nobody near him. That was bad. That's bad, and it's not on Vasilevsky. And I think that probably really pissed Cooper off. So, I'm sure Cooper has his reasons. But I thought it was a little weird. It was plenty of rest in between the 2 games that Vassie could have started in Colorado and not started the back-to-back. But, I don't know. Maybe the altitude doesn't bother him, whatever. I thought maybe if you're going to start him, Vassie, you would start him on the back end of the back-to-back. But I guess you want him on the front end so he can play the next game. So I don't know. Either way, it certainly wasn't on Vassie last night. They outshot the Avalanche. And they created some chances. They just couldn't bury them. Gorgiev was really good, made some huge saves. So again, you lose a 4-1 with an empty netter at the end. You had AC Mon had a goal that was wiped off because of offsides. That was just, that's just by a hair. So it could have been a bit of a difference maker right there. So, chalk one up. You lose on the road to a good team. Move on. Get the point against the Avalanche or Coyotes tonight. And you'll get 4 out of 6 on the road trip, which is more than enough. And you come home and you got Pittsburgh on Thursday. So that should be that should be fun.
I mean, I think if anything, the take away from this, the Lightning are certainly trending upward, right? You've got Vassie back. You're playing well on the road. You got some things to clean up for sure. If things had gone different earlier in that game, I think if things had stayed a little cleaner, you got a better chance to win. And the score looks vastly different, I think. But it's just about taking care of business early in these, especially on these road games, and staying in the game early.
Yep. All right, let's get to some of the other comments today. Jeremy Lowe, what's up, buddy? Baker's annoyed with some of his teammates. Ain't no question about that. Ain't no question about it. And I think he's annoyed with the head coach too.
And Baker's the kind of guy that's going to be vocal about that. He doesn't give a crap. He's on a 1-year deal. He's got nothing to lose.
This scares me right here. Greg D. Cruz. Olaf from Costa Rica. What you doing down there, Greg? Having some little fishing, little whitewater rafting, maybe getting some stem cells? I may be headed down there to get some stem cells.
I'm telling you, man, Jim Harbaugh.
JP Glazers are big game hunters. Hallbar, perhaps. Oh, God, no.
Telling you.
No. I know he's had success everywhere he's gone. He's a winner, and he's a hard ass, and I like that. I like that part of him, but he's just gone wacky. I think he's gone wacky. Have you seen his press conferences talking about his mother's bathing suit, his one-piece bathing suit? He's just nuts. Weird, man. And the whole cheating thing, people change over time, and right now, and situations change. I think he's a great college coach because the guy's got to listen to him. I don't think the modern NFL player, is listening to that wacky old white guy. I know. I'm just keeping it real.
Telling you, there's a chance.
Greg also says if Brady doesn't unretire, Arians is most likely still here. Bowles was forced onto light. Absolutely. Listen, we can be all political here, and I don't know exactly what happened, but I've talked to a lot of people, and I read all the reports and the tampering reports and all that stuff. And I'll boil it down for you. And this is my opinion of what happened. Brady wanted to go to Miami. Arians wasn't going to let it happen. He got pissed at Arians. Said the only way he knew he was stuck. He wanted to play one more season. Knew he couldn't get to Miami because of Arians. He said, "All right, well, screw you. I'm not coming back. I'm just going to retire. Stay retired unless you leave." And the Glazers said, "All right, whatever. Who do you want to be a coach? Oh, Bowles will be a better coach. He'll run a tighter ship. Blah blah blah. Okay, whatever you want, Tommy. Come back, please. We make a lot of money with you. I mean, who want Brady back. And then the whole thing unraveled under Bowles. Last year was a challenging year for him, but he still had a lot of talent, and you win 8 games. The team got worse as the season went on, and we just see what kind of coach he is. It's just, we've talked a lot about that. So, yes, that's what happened. That's what happened. That's how Todd Bowles got the job. That's just, in my opinion.
So Bowles was – why would Bowles have been Brady's first pick? Because he knew he could walk all over him? I mean, he's a defensive coach. He's not even your offensive coach.
Well, he had the offense. He was the offensive coach. He and Byron Leftwich were going to run the offense, get Bruce Arians and his red pen out of the way. Remember that whole story?
Yeah.
There was some truth to that. There was some truth to that. Tommy didn't like how, Arians would come in after he and Leftwich would put together the game plan and start crossing things off. He just didn't like that. And so I'll come back and I'll hand pick my coach and I'll hand pick everything else and I'll get everything I want. And that's what he did, because that's what you do as an organization. That's what you do. You did that with him when he came here and he got you a Super Bowl. So why don't you let him do it again? You're not going to say no to Tom Brady. You're just not.
Not
from
at
a
that
business.
Point.
You got all these sponsors. Not saying anything against the Glazers here, but it's just business. All right, you've signed up all these sponsors for 5 years. Okay, you've got 2 years of Brady, and they're paying a 20% surcharge for Brady if he's on the roster. So that's cash money in your pocket right there. And plus plus the ticket sales, the boxes that everybody you're playing for that had to make a 5. You want to keep your customers happy, right? You want to keep them happy. You got to do it. You got to do it. You're going to say no to Tom Brady? No, we're going to keep Arians the coach. You can stay unretired, and we're going to go play Kyle Trask? No, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. So
y'all are pretty much done with Trask, right? Like he's out.
I mean, for me, I know I love Baker, but to me, I got to see what Trask can do. I got to see what he can do. You don't know, and everybody thinks they know, and it's a pretty likely story that he's not a great quarterback. That's the odds are that he's not. But you'd have said the same thing about Brock Purdy. You'd have said the same thing about Tom Brady. You said the same thing about Jalen Hurts. You said, I can go on, and same thing about Dak Prescott. Same thing. All these guys that turned out to be pretty damn good quarterbacks, you said couldn't play. Most of you. Most of the scouts said they couldn't play. That's why they were 4th, 6th, 7th rounders, right? So we don't know until they play. So what do you got to lose? Games? Good. We'll get a better draft pick. All right. But what if the guy comes out and he just sees the field a different way, is comfortable in the pocket, makes it work, it throws with anticipation like Brock Purdy does, it makes the offense work. Look, I can, Baker played, he's a warrior, but I can go pick out 7 plays with guys that are wide open that he didn't read and missed the throw. All right. But Chris Godwin's wide open in the end zone, took a sack. Wide open, right off the break. He's wide open. But you're stuck on Mike Evans. You're trying to force the ball to Mike. You don't look at Chris. He's wide open. Throw him the ball. That's on Baker. So, you can go through a lot. What if Kyle Trask sees that? What if Kyle Trask delivers a better ball to Mike Evans down the sideline? What if Mike Evans gets his head around, for God's sakes, earlier and finds the ball? There's a lot of different things, but can Kyle do it? He got one snap, threw the ball right into Godwin's hands, and an unbelievable throw in the back of the end zone. Probably could have been a little sooner with it, okay? Give him a little better chance, but, it's a great throw. And he looked good in preseason. He looks the part. He's 6'5". How many passes did Baker get batted down? 3. 3 passes. That's a lot. And it happens every game because he's 6'1". So, I'm not saying Baker's played poorly. I think for what he's been given, he's played pretty damn well. But we're not going anywhere with Baker Mayfield. We're not. We're not going anywhere with anybody. You're not going anywhere with Tom Brady. We saw it last year. Get your ass kicked in the playoffs. Big whoop. So, it's time to see Kyle Trask. Bucs Basement says, Todd Bowles is comical. The suggestion that we had not snowballed. In reality, we've avalanched and hit the iceberg. 7 games in a row. He doesn't call a timeout in the first half.
I just don't get the timeout thing, man. That's maddening.
It's crazy. It's literally crazy. You are just, that is a data point where you are just clueless. Every good coach is using those timeouts to get that extra possession in the first half. Every good coach. But I'd rather, we're going to run out the time here. We don't want to give their offense extra time. They got enough time anyway, bro. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're not going to run. How often does a team run out of time before the half? How often do you see that during a game? 10% of the time? Maybe?
More.
Right?
I think more. I mean, a little bit more, maybe.
We're run out of time? It was second down at the 25-yard line and we ran out of time? No, that never happens.
Oh, well, no, not if you're calling timeouts.
Right.
Right.
But so I'm saying is, if you're holding your time, you don't want to call timeout because that would give them more time. They've already figured it out, bro. They've already figured it out. They've got enough time and timeouts to do whatever they got to do. You not taking timeout is not helping them or not keeping them from scoring. They figured it out. You're the dumbass that can't figure out, I got to use my timeouts on defense to preserve time for my offense to get the ball. Yeah, offense is good, Todd. When you get more possessions, you score more points. He thinks the less possessions in the game, the better chance I got to win because I'm a defensive coach. And by the way, your defense sucks. Your defense is awful.
And that's what makes a coordinator not a good coach. When you can't adapt, when you can't change your mindset. So I'm the defensive guy. I'm only thinking about defense. When you become a head coach, you got to be able to adjust your mindset and think about both sides of the ball. And the guys that are great coordinators, but bad head coaches, they don't have that ability.
All right. Christopher Cole says, I believe the Bulls should get one more year because the first season should not count.
Why?
Because it was all set up by Brady. But you guys act like he didn't have, we didn't have his coaches. Who cares, man? You got a freaking Super Bowl roster. Not everybody. I get it. No Gronk. But you can't be – that team was bad. You scored 18 points a game. You had a soft schedule. You went 8-10, and you got worse as the season. What point can you point to, Christopher, that shows me that Bowles is a good coach? What is he doing well? Adjusting? No. Using his timeouts? No. Challenging plays? No. What's he doing well that says he's going to be a good head coach? Please comment. Tell me what he's done well. You can say, well, you can give me a lot of excuses. Every team has excuses. Every coach has excuses. Injuries. Maybe not some coaches on his staff that guys pick coaches and they don't turn out to be the guys they think they are. Everybody's got issues. You got to coach around them. That's what the great coaches do. I know he wasn't handled a perfect situation, but who is? Who is? Yeah. He was handed a roster that had 12 guys that have been to the Pro Bowl. I don't think D'Amico Ryans was handed that. He's doing okay.
Yeah,
What's he doing well that deserves another year? That's all I'm asking you, Chris. I love you. You know that. Who's going to order the code red? Oh, somebody better. Biggest problem is Bowles all the time he talks about how they coach hard and they can't possibly coach harder. Well, that meant a lot. They're not coaching smart, and it shows. Yes. I didn't challenge the obvious Evans catch. Yeah, it's just, awful. And this is why, yes, they are soft. The way they coach, the way they play, everything. TJC 22, good to hear you in the room. Couple baffling decisions from the coaching perspective. One, he didn't challenge Mike, got in. Yes, it was obvious. He was rolling on top of the player. Why not challenge it? You lose a first half timeout, big whoop, and you lose one challenge. I get it. But that's a touchdown. You got to challenge. He didn't challenge Mike's second catch yet. He didn't challenge Durham, got in. 2/3 were pretty concrete. He wins that. Yeah, all of them. You got to do this, man. This is the most important thing, decisions you do as a coach, are these challenges, fourth downs, and managing your timeouts. And you suck at all of them. Like you're hurting your team, hurting it. You got to be helping. You're the coach. You can't make a tackle. You can't catch a ball. You've got to help your team, and you're hurting your team. Unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Number 50 should have been fullback. We're up in the middle on the goal line. And you know what? Seriously, if you don't want to run quarterback sneak, you put him in a fullback set 2 yards behind Baker Mayfield, and you turn around and hand number 50 the ball. I'm sorry. Who's stopping that? Who's stopping that? Nobody. Nobody's stopping that. All right, so we'll try to see if there are any other new ones in here. Bucs 2023 was always a mulligan with the massive cap hits. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty damn true. They let him walk. He got suitors. He turned down more money to be here. I think he's talking about Baker Mayfield, that he'll have some suitors, which is good. I wish the best for Baker. I just don't think this is the right situation for him. This is a rebuild, and I just don't think he's a rebuild guy. And I think, if you're going to rebuild, you want to rebuild with a guy whose ceiling is really high. And I think we know where Baker is. And I love him, but he's not super fast. He's not super elusive. He's pretty good at that. He's not tall. Got a really good arm, but he's still 6 foot, 6'1". It's just it's a middling ceiling. You put a lot of, he's a guy like a I don't want to say Brad Johnson because he got the job done.
Yeah.
And Brad's 6'6", and he could. It's just a different deal. Brad was way better than people think he is or gets credit for, in my opinion. But I'm a little biased. I get it. Still
my favorite fantasy quarterback I ever had, ever.
Yeah. Oh my God, they put up huge numbers in Minnesota. Yeah. That's for damn sure.
Sanato
Gato, good to see you, my friend. When the Bucs O-line lackluster run game, Swiss cheese defense, and drop balls, I can't see any quarterback excelling, not even the great Trask. You're right. You're 100% right. But I still got to see what he does. I again, it's not on Baker. It's not what I'm not making this change because Baker's not playing as good as he can play. That's not what I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I got to see what Trask is. And if he fails, it's not a terrible thing, at this point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not really a happy ending. Still 2 and 3 year wait for a new coach, new QB, O-line fix, defense fix. Still a long ways off. I think that's it's an interesting question to ask right now because, how close are we? And this is something that Trevor Sikkema, a PFF draft analyst, said the other day is when you look at the Bucs on both sides of the line, their lines of scrimmage, it screams rebuild. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, because you got Godwin, you got Evans, you got Antoine Winfield. I think Rachaad White's a good player. I think he's a plus guy you want to keep around. So I think their skill guys make you believe they're better than they are, like that it's not a rebuild because you have those guys. So, and Carlton Davis and Dean are supposed to be good corners. So your outside guys, you've got some guys that are Pro Bowlers or highly regarded, right? So let's look at the line. Offensively, Tristan Wirfs, obviously a keeper. Cody Mauch, we don't know yet. I'm not going to say he's, he can still develop into something. He hasn't been horrible. Hainsey's just a guy. You need a new center. Your left guard position is wide open. So, Gedeke, I think you might have found a right tackle. So right now, if I'm moving forward, I got 2 tackles, I think, that are good enough. I have to redo my entire interior line as far as I'm concerned. Cody Mauch might be a guy, but he's probably just a guy. Defensively, Vita Vea is elite. He is. He's still elite. I think Cansey is pretty damn good, but you got no edge rushers of any note. I think Diaby might have a chance to be an elite guy. He's big enough. He's strong enough. He's fast enough. He's still really raw. But outside of that, you don't have a dominant pass rusher. You don't have so defensively and linebackers, Levante is still great, but he's going to be 34 years old. So you need 2 new linebackers. Devin's awful. Your 2 corners, but we're just talking about the interior. So yeah, you need a lot of work. Now, can you fix that in one draft? Nope, you can't. Now you're going to have to add a couple of free agents here. You're going to have to go out and get a Ryan Jensen. You're going to have to go out and get an experienced center. I think that if you can go find another Ryan Jensen, you're well on. Now you got 2 tackles and a damn good center, an all-pro center. If you can find a good free agent center, that's not okay. So that's good. You draft the left guard. Now you got the makings of a pretty good offensive line. Okay, if Cody Mauch can come along and just be a little above average, and you highly draft a good left guard, and you got or a free agent center or vice versa. Okay, I'm okay. That's an offensive line I can work with. I can work with that. So that's a quick fix 1 year. You got to draft an edge rusher. You have to get an edge rusher. If I'm the Bucs, maybe I give away next year's first round pick to jump back into the first round and get a guy. along with my quarterback. It sure would have been nice to take that first-round pick that the Jets reportedly offered for Mike Evans. I don't want to trade Mike, but you can still come back and re-sign him as a free agent. Remember that. So if you were sitting there with 2 top 10 picks, the Jets pick and your own, could get an edge rusher and a quarterback, this would have gone a lot faster. So there's some way you can find to get another first-round pick, whether you give away next year's. If there's someone willing to do that, then fine. But I think that could be a somewhat quick rebuild. Can you go? You're going to have a lot of cap money pretty soon. So can you go out and get a center and an edge rusher? Elite edge rushers don't come on the market very often. So I don't know. So we'll see. All right. I think that's got most of the TJ. There's another thing. Jobs will be open. Carolina, Chicago, Raiders, Chargers, Redskins, jobs that are likely open but undecided. Tampa, New England, New Orleans. Yeah. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, may have 8 head coaching jobs open. So yeah, we love Todd Monken. We love Bobby Sloak. We love Ben Johnson. Do they love us? You're probably going to be able to pick your quarterback. And I think Tampa Bay has looked as a good, stable franchise now with good money behind it with the Glazers. So I think it's an attractive job. Yeah, I think it's an attractive job. The roster is not terrible. As I said, quick fix for your offensive line is in the making because you got 2 good tackles and maybe a right guard. So, I think it's as I look at, I think the Redskins is a horrible job. Don't know about the new owner. The Chargers, you got a quarterback. So that's attractive. You do have a quarterback and a pretty damn good roster there. So of all these jobs that are open, I would say the Chargers is the best one, right? Because you got a quarterback there.
Talent-wise, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, New Orleans, you don't have a quarterback, in my estimation. New England, no quarterback. Tampa, no quarterback. Of course, you can go draft one, right? You can draft one. You can grow with one. Carolina, you got one, but he ain't the guy. Carolina.
You're going to need another one.
Yeah, I don't need. Yeah, you gave away the store, so you're down draft picks, and you got a quarterback that I don't want to work with. So, I think if I'm rating these jobs, depending on how you are on Justin Fields, and I think Justin Fields, I still got to see. I don't think a lot of people have given up on him. I've seen some sparks from this kid that I think this is more organizational than it is him. I think that if I was a head coach coming in, I would look at that situation and say, I think I might have a quarterback, and that's up to you. You make the call on that. So if you believe in yourself as a coach, and you believe that there's a lot to work with in Justin Fields, I think there's a lot to work. He looks and feels a lot like Jalen Hurts to me. So
I like him better now than I did him coming out of Ohio State for sure. When he was coming out of Ohio State, I thought for sure this is another Ohio State quarterback flop, like every single one before him.
Yeah.
Right. He certainly made some progress. I still think he's got a long way to go, though. But like you said, it may be organizational, and with the right guy, teaching him and grooming him, I think he could be something. But I think it's a long shot still.
Yeah. All right, great comments. Thank you guys for
By the way, I have
jumping
a
in
present for you here. I got to throw up on the screen for you.
Okay.
Let's get rid of that comment real quick because we need full screen for this for you.
All right. Do I need to do something?
I'm not going to say breaking news or anything. I'm just going to say this is what I think's happening.
Oh, God. Look at that face, man. Just like, I wanted in one piece, like my mom's baby.
Sorry, I had to. I just had to.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies, bro. It does. The guy's a whack job.
Dude, he is nuts, man.
He's nuts.
And what is so funny is, I cover his brother, of course, very heavily over in Baltimore. And
seems like a completely normal dude.
Nothing
right?
alike. Nothing alike, man. But Harbaugh Jim sort of had a little bit of that late in his playing career in Indy, right? Like he sort of was off the rails a little bit. He had a little bit of the crazy eye going. When they were talking to him, I remember going way back when they were talking about, Manning being drafted and replacing him. And he was just like, who's that? Just with the crazy eye. I don't even know who that is. And I know he's been successful everywhere he's gone, but I don't know. TJC said Monken would take this job if Baker is his guy in year one. Well, listen, even if I draft a quarterback, I think I'd like to keep Baker around.
because I'm not a big throw the guy in there guy. It depends on the guy. It totally depends on the guy. But I just think in general, it's better to have a soft, I hate to use the word soft, but I want some options. I don't want this guy to feel the weight of the world. I want him to come in here and just be like, all right, Baker's gonna be here year one. Okay. We're gonna keep developing this offense with him. I want you to learn from him, learn from his competitiveness, learn from his professionalism, the way he carries himself. Because I like all that about Baker. I think he's done a hell of a job here. So and you come in and when you're ready, you're ready. Like Jameis was like, all right, Jameis is such a big personality. You wanted, the situation was right. Go get him, kid. Yeah. You've had success and maybe maybe he needed to sit for a while and learn, how to be a professional and how to not throw picks. Maybe that would have been a better situation for him. So I think if you have an option like that, and it's a low dollar option, like if I could keep Baker around for, $6-7 million and have him, be my backup quarterback and bring in a guy. Yeah, I think that's a great situation. And if that helps get Todd Monk in here, yeah, hell yeah. I'm for that. No doubt. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. TJ Rives is going to join us. I want to get into a little bit of college football talk as well. And you got a new coach at A&M.
We do. It's one of our own.
Mike Elko. What happened to Mark Stoops? I want you to explain what the hell that was all about, Mr. A&M reporter.
I can do that.
I can't wait.
It's embarrassing, but I can do it.
All right, good. You're not the only one it's happened to. Trust me on that deal. All right, we're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, who just saved me $1,000. Saved our good friend Leo $6,000 on his car insurance. How about that? They can save you money as well. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. A great customer service. Ask for charity. Tell them JP sent you. Let her shop your insurance around. You never know. They can save you $1,000, $6,000. Back in 3. Stay with us.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Hey, the holidays are almost here, so take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. Reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. And engagement season is here as well, and we've got the largest selection of engagement rings, so visit us to find that perfect ring for that special moment. Looking for financing options? How big a ring can you get when we give you 3 to 5 years interest-free financing to make your dream jewelry more affordable? So this November, make sure you choose the Gold and Diamond Source for jewelry that's always stylish and unique, because your special someone deserves something to be thankful for, right? Find the perfect gift at the Gold and Diamond Source. Don't settle for factory-made imitations, folks. Make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond for a truly special piece of jewelry. It's the best folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source, 4800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. There he is.
Yeah, my computer's doing some wonky things.
Oh, it's that Windows.
That's that. I don't know about you, but a lot of my technology is having issues lately. I don't know what's going on in this world right now. I'm watching a couple of TV shows like Glitch and a couple others.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch Glitch at all?
I did. Yeah. It's all coming true.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of bizarro things going on in this world right now. So who the hell knows what's happening? All I know is that every Tuesday, the great Bucs sideline guy, TJ Rives, shows up in this little box under here, and we click on him, and he starts.
He's in the building!
And, most days. Like sometimes it doesn't work, but then sometimes it does. Most times it does. So we welcome him in. What's up, TJ? How are you?
I am here to try to cheer up. Look, I know post-Thanksgiving that Buccaneer fans are looking to drink lighter fluid after what happened in Indianapolis. So I am trying to add some optimism. I don't want PTSD at any point in my life, much less this weekend. So please talk me off the ledge. Did I not see this movie a year ago on Dave Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, says, I've got a disaster for a head coach. Nobody on the team likes him. Nobody's listening to him. Let's fire him. Let's put an interim coach in. And my Buccaneers with Tom Brady and company roll in. And how did that work out?
You forgot the other part. You get rid of your two best players, too.
They did. Exactly. Yeah. They traded away DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey and still made things happen. Okay.
Yeah.
So now here we are circa 2023.
Yes.
And right before the Buccaneer game, the same owner dispatches off with their heads the head coach, Josh McCown, who I love, by the way. We got to know him here as the quarterback coach. Deuce Staley, the running back coach. Is there anybody left? And now it's the Buccaneers. Now, the differences are that you learn, hopefully, from what went on a year ago. Okay. You're at home. And you're now later in the year and you're in must-win mode. I mean, babe, in this situation, am I going to have PTSD Sunday at Raymond James Stadium? Am I going to have like flashbacks? I'm going to make an old school movies reference, and I don't know if Timmy's going to get it. JP might get it. Am I going to be Clint Eastwood in that old school action movie Firefox when he's stealing the Russian airplane and he's having the PTSD in the shower with the shower pouring on him, and you're like cheering for Clint, snap out of it. Don't steal the airplane. Is that going to be me? And am I going to be in the shower with the water coming down on me, hallucinating about Vietnam before this game with Carolina? I'm here for the levity. I'm here for the
movie.
That's a great reference. Great reference. Great. And I hate to tell you, but yeah. I don't listen. I've been around, covering the Bucs. We've gone through a lot of coaching changes, covering, different sports as I have. A lot of bad teams, a lot of good teams. But there comes a time in a season where the line of demarcation, where the players look at the coaching staff and they're like, I don't believe in these guys anymore. I have no clue what's going on. I'm not going out there being my best. The good game that the Bucs played in this 6 of 7 losing streak, it was the players that had to tell the coach how they wanted to play. And they went out and played that way, and they played well. I think the guys I think they're done. I'm going to push back a little bit.
I don't sense that they have mailed it in. I sense they still care. I sense there's want to, but for whatever reasons, the blown assignments, I missed tackles, guys in the wrong place, drop footballs, penalty at the wrong time. Yeah. You've got to clean that up. And I don't know, does that fall in the category of tuning the coaching staff out? Does that fall in the category of you're a paid professional and this is the 10th, 11th, 12th game of the season, and you got to stop doing that crap. You got to stop self-inflicting in that regard. So I don't sense right now, and we've been around these. Like
you're
you
around the
said.
team. I'm not. You were around the team.
When the Greg Schiano, when the good ship Schiano had gotten to 0-6 and 0-7, everybody checked out. I'm talking about the whole organization checked out.
Yeah.
So I could confirm that one.
So you still see the pirate ship
this one
coming in, it's coming into battle. All battle stations are manned. They're still firing the cannons. They're still giving it the good old try. I see it kind of like it's taking some hits. And, it's like it's leaking water.
The sailing term is listing. Is it listing?
It's a little off to the side. Five cannons are kind of firing up instead of out. I don't know.
But
they're still at their battle stations. So that's good.
This is arguably the worst team in the NFL that's just fired everybody. They've got a rookie quarterback who's shown nothing. He's not CJ Stroud, for example. All right. So if you come in head square, screwed on straight, and you play solid football, especially at the beginning of this game, you should be able to demoralize this team and beat them because everybody else has done that.
Yeah.
And then we're only talking about this one situation, this one game. And then if you've done that, you try to build from there, whatever else it's going to be. And I don't think it's an overstatement to say the season has probably been on the line last week in Indianapolis, and it's definitely on the line right here. But all I keep saying to you, my friend, for an early holiday present, an early Christmas present, can we get to the final two home games against Jacksonville, and more importantly, the New Year's Eve game with New Orleans? Get me to a 7th win, somewhere in that range, because you're still relevant. A win this week is a 5th win. Then that would require somewhere out of at Atlanta, at Green Bay, Jacksonville at home. Get me a 6th win, if not a 7th win. You're still very much in the hunt with 7 wins in that area, Jacksonville and New Orleans. Can I get there? Can we get there?
My problem is I don't see where the improvement is. I don't see, every week is the offense getting better? Some weeks it's a little marginally better.
It's gotten worse in the red zone.
Yeah,
it's gotten worse in being able to score touchdowns.
In the red zone. They should probably challenge a call every now and then if you're close to scoring a touchdown, which is hard to do. You're having a hard time. So if you come close to scoring one and you think you might have scored one, I'd go ahead and challenge. But you might
lose the timeout, JP. You can't lose that timeout.
Yeah, because we're setting a record for timeouts not used, and I'm not sure what that gets you, but
yeah, I know. Can I share this? John Gruden used to say this, and I thought it was interesting, profound, all at the same time, and it wasn't coach speak. He would say, "What am I saving my challenge for?" He had that eye going. What am I saving my challenge for if I'm not challenging a bleeping touchdown? Right. I'm challenging a bleeping touchdown or not.
Yeah,
and so that's kind of what you're saying. Is if you look at it and believe Payne Durham, and that ball was right in front of me.
Yeah,
it's as close. That play was as close as those guitars over your left shoulder in your shot. Payne Durham, to me, down by the goal line in the late second quarter, him stretching the ball. To me, again, timeouts at the end of the game, or is that because you don't have a guarantee at the 1 foot line? We saw that at the beginning of the game. You don't have a guarantee at the 1 foot line. You can get the quarterback injured. You can get a penalty. So just in general, philosophically,
shotgun 5 yards back.
Yeah, I know. Challenging touchdown or not is a big part of this. But you talk about checking out. All right, so have the Panthers checked out? And if the Buccaneers demoralize them early in the game, are they just going to wave the white flag and this is an easy day? Heaven forbid the Bucs have an easy day on Sunday,
I would like
but
to see
it
them
could be
talent, instead of what they did against the Colts, come out, everybody's 10 yards off the receiver and they just run 5 yards, turn around and catch the ball. I'd like to see them challenge these Panthers receivers and challenge Bryce Young to make have to make a throw and make a play, and don't be so soft coming out. Like, challenge them, be aggressive from the start. No, not when you have to be aggressive. From the start, be aggressive defensively.
And in fairness, I'm not making excuses. In the Tennessee game, Jamel Dean was healthy, and Jamel Dean was right up on DeAndre Hopkins, to your point, and they were blitzing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his health situation is for this week, but Carolina doesn't have a DeAndre Hopkins out of that receiving core. I mean, Timmy, again, to reference 2 weeks ago, you saw him against Dallas. They could have been left alone in the stadium themselves, and they weren't going to score 21 points.
Right.
So this is the same thing, and now without the head coach, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But season is definitely on the line. There's no doubt. I'm told there is a possibility that Levante David could play.
Oh,
A possibility.
That's big.
Let's see if he can practice this week. If you see a DNP didn't practice, and again on Thursday didn't practice, then it's probably not. But we don't know that sitting here on Tuesday. Does he feel better tomorrow? Does he feel better Thursday? Are they also mulling here that if he goes out there and he hurts it worse, he's out for the rest of the year? You don't want that if that's the case. So let's see. Do you have time? Do you want to talk a little college football playoff?
Yes,
Have you been waxing poetic? I have not been able to hear you today.
Timm. We have to get from Timm, our Texas A&M reporter, and I know you'll want to hear this. What the whole Mark Stoops from Kentucky to A&M was, the old trial balloon, the old Greg Schiano to Tennessee trial balloon.
Exactly.
Had the fans spiked, and then they had to go to option 2, which I think is the better
option. The reporting, Timmy, that's out there, and confirm how much you know, is this was done and then undone because the backlash that was everywhere about don't bring Stoops to Texas A&M.
It was a done deal. They'd been talking about it for roughly, well, I don't know. They'd been talking. Ross Bjork, the A&M athletic director, Stoops was his guy. So they'd been negotiating this deal for days, for weeks, right? They finally got the deal done. Ross Bjork accepted offered the deal without the board accepting it. The A&M Board of Regents, without even discussing it with them. Finally had the deal done, went to the Board of Regents, and this is all late at night, right? Said, hey, we've got our guy. We're making an announcement tomorrow. The Board of Regents said, the hell you do?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then when word got out about that, all of the boosters, Bjork's phone started blowing up from boosters.
Right.
All the money guys. We didn't fire Jimbo to bring in no Stoops.
Or as many put it, the Kentucky version of Jimbo. You brought in the Florida State Jimbo. Yeah. Now you're bringing in the Kentucky version of Jimbo.
Exactly.
A lot of people.
So this was squashed by the board, by every conceivable booster that Bjork and A&M cares about very, very quickly. Because I was in the middle of writing a story, Stoops to be named new Aggies head coach. And I was almost done. Yeah. Right before I hit send, it's like, oops. Nope, not going to happen.
I love the tweet from Stuart Mandel. I'll shout him out of, what is he, The Athletic now, or SI? I can't keep track of that. Yeah. Where he said, how are we going to look back on the 2-hour era of Mark Stoops as the Texas A&M coach?
Same as the
2 hours on
era at Tennessee.
Yes,
absolutely.
It's an embarrassment, man. And of course, my phone was blowing up. What are you guys doing down there in college? I'm like, look, I wasn't in on this decision. So don't say we.
And again, Elko is a fit because he's a former defensive coordinator. They're giving him significantly less money. No kidding. And not all of it is guaranteed. And we'll see how
a lot of it is incentive driven. It's a lot of that. His deal is incentive driven. It's got a base of about 7 a year when all is said and done. But that's mostly incentives.
All right. JP, I am here for you, my friend, on a Tuesday. I still believe even with the Louisville loss to Mark Stoops' Kentucky, I believe a Florida State win. I think you're there. Now, the debate becomes you better have Georgia go ahead and beat Alabama.
Exactly.
Because I believe Georgia is in as the 4 seed, even if they lose. So now if you've got 2 SEC teams, Michigan is going to freight train Iowa. We know that and be undefeated. There's 3. Now it's down to Washington and Florida State. I believe Florida State's got the better case, but it gets a lot easier if Georgia goes ahead and beats Alabama because now it's Georgia, it's Michigan, and whoever else is undefeated out of Washington and Florida State if they get there.
Those Longhorns fans still think they have a chance, though, man. Exactly. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Texas is not getting in front of Washington or Florida State if they're undefeated.
I don't think so either.
Alabama, I believe, can with the head-to-head win over Georgia, the strength of the SEC, and I know the Texas fans are screaming about beating Alabama, but it's if everything is equal, then it's head-to-head. I think Alabama's going to get in if they beat Georgia. So, JP, the Noel fans got to be rooting for the Dogs.
Yeah, they do. And I hope, the SEC refs don't try to let's get 2 teams in and get another $40 million. They're pretty smart. The ACC refs try to penalize FSU with bullshit penalties.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did the ACC refs do with the Seminoles the other night, losing in the first half with a couple of hideous, what was that roughing the passer call like in the first half in
Well, if you're an
Gainesville
FSU
Saturday
fan,
night.
you've seen that over the years, and you're just like,
Welcome to the
this
ACC.
Yeah, they're just not real smart. They're a basketball conference, and we need to get the hell out of there as quick as possible. So I'm looking at Georgia's schedule, and I'm,
Right.
it's okay. You're in the SEC.
What's the out of the conference? What's the out of conference?
UT Martin,
Ugh,
Ball State,
really?
UAB, and the only decent team they played out of conference was the ACC's Georgia Tech, and they beat them by 8. And Georgia Tech was in the game the whole way. I'm sorry.
However, look at the wins.
Well, Missouri. Missouri was ranked 12th, who almost lost and should have lost to Florida. Ole Miss. Well, they're a top 10 team. Are they really?
Yep.
Who the hell have they beaten? Tennessee. What's their big win? Okay, so the SEC.
But again, this is we know
is not good.
But we know the SEC
had a losing record to the ACC. So if Georgia, I'm just saying, like Georgia loses the only good team they play, Alabama, and we're supposed to say, oh well, they're 2-time champs. They got to get in with one.
I'm telling you, they are in as the 4th seed, especially if it's a close game.
I know,
but
you're right.
But Georgia could likely whack Alabama, and then it straightens everything else up. Everybody wins out of Michigan, out of Washington, out of Florida State. You're golden. I know we're out of time. I've been therapeutic with you on Florida State. You've been therapeutic with me on the Buccaneers.
Yes.
Let's just see what happens this weekend in both cases. The Knowles on Saturday and all the drama. And I again say one more time here something I've been saying everywhere else. Enjoy this for the last time we get it in college football.
Yep.
Because next year when it's 12 teams, these games don't have really the same relevance on are you in or not. They already are in. So we'll get lots of there's going to be lots of eyeballs watching what happens on Saturday for sure.
Can't wait. All right, TJ, thanks, buddy. Always fun to be with you, Bucs sideline guy. Follow him.
There we go.
Next. He's the best.
Thank you, my friend.
Timmy, great job, my friend. If you missed anything, make sure you like us. Follow us at fanstreamsports.com. Go on to YouTube and like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fanstream Sports. And, of course, our podcast as well. If you ever missed a show live, you can always listen to us as a podcast. The best 2 hours in Tampa Bay sports each and every day. We are here for you. Have a great day, everybody. Go Bolts tonight at Arizona, and we will talk to you tomorrow.